Hello and welcome back to the Speed Tour from the Circuit of the Americas. I hope you've enjoyed watching some of our great stories from the paddock, and it really is an interesting group of people we have together here. But now we turn back to single-seaters as we were this morning, and now it's the chance of the F4 Juniors, who you see on this side, and the F4 Regular Series. Slightly smaller cars. These are the older cars without the halo. But the traction to this sport is getting huge. We've got countries represented. Uruguay, Mate Caceres is here. She's here. She's been here before. I met her last year here. We've also got a new entry from Brazil, Leo Escorpini. And it just shows you there's a bunch of Americans, but there's so many different countries. Australia represented. Italy represented with Teddy Masella. Lots to play for. This is the final hurrah, if you will. 3 races in all for the weekend. They've had one already with plenty of controversy. Keke Juanio in the F4 has got to start from the pit lane. And more stories. Connor Roberts got a good podium, a 5th consecutive podium. He is looking to improve and see if he can beat this man, Daniel Quimby, who's currently 2nd in the championship. It's going to be an interesting battle between these two. Here's Alex Crosby. Here's another country, New Zealand from Invercargill. And I'll tell you something you wouldn't know. These colours here are the famous colours of Invercargill, because that's where this young man's from. And he's proudly representing. And so we wish him luck. So watch out for Alex Crosby. He's had 1 win already this season, and he's looking for another. But the real story is here. Nicolas Stati leads the championship at the moment, and in fact, by getting a runner-up spot yesterday, he increased his lead in the championship. But the race itself was won by this man over here, Alex Popov. Now, if you recognize that name, you might say, hang on, I know that name. It's a famous name, in fact. His father races sports cars in America and has done for many years. So, a chip off the old block, and there's Dad. Look, my hero, my dad. There he is. So there you go. Watch out for Alex Popov. He's got 1 win under his belt, and it's all to play for. Now, just to give you an idea, this is going to be a split rolling start. And what that means is these guys with the halos will start behind their pace car, and then 30 seconds later, this group of F4 Juniors will then do their bit. So it's going to get interesting. Let's see if we can have a quick word. How's Alex going?
No English.
Oh, no English. Don't speak English. And I don't speak Popov's language, so what the heck? Anyway, it's all to play for. The men to watch out for, number 15, number 55, and Connor Roberts in the 46. The engines are roaring. We're about to go racing. I'll hand it over to Ben.
Well, thank you so much, Jonathan. I am here in the booth. It's so much fun to watch Jonathan Green do a grid walk. He loves these open-wheeler, single-seaters. You know, he's got his radio show podcast out of Austin all about Formula One. He followed you guys down to New Zealand over the off-season. I'm joined here in the booth with Landan Matriano Lim, who we've seen in today's race in FR, but he just got out of his PSSA Sebeco. And how was it out there today?
Oh, it was absolutely fantastic. A little bit trouble in the race, and really hard to really get the job done with the few laps we got due to that double yellow. But getting in that Sebeco prototype was just a blast today, especially having the guys on the radio telling me the gap to P1 and what margin I need to break, and it was a ton of fun.
Yeah, that's really cool. The COTA SpeedTour, that's where we are right now in Austin, Texas. It is Ligier JS F4 coming onto track right now, but then we've got Formula Regionals America. We've got the PSSA, the Prototype Sprint Series Association, that you're running in also this weekend as we see the beautiful COTA Tower. Then we have the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. We've got all the classes mixed in with that, with the Western Championship. We've got International GT here. Tickets are still available on speedtour.net. This is a spectator event, and the paddocks are wide open. You can come meet and talk to the drivers. Speaking of meeting the drivers, I don't know if you remember this, but this is kind of a funny thing. In like February, March, I'm at a Mexican restaurant in Willows, California, at a big table, and then you walk in, you get like a to-go order.
That was insane.
And you kept looking at me like, I don't think I know who you are. But then I explained, oh, you've been in the booth with me and I'm this. But, you got to start, you're going to be a big professional racer. You got to just start getting used to just strangers coming up and talk to you in restaurants.
That's what we're working for. I actually had my first moment this year of someone in public meeting me. It was actually in New Zealand, the New Zealand series. And it's so popular over there. They televise everything. It's on the local TVs. And the support for it is absolutely amazing. And I actually had one of the fans come up to me during one of the races, and they're like, I'm such a big fan. My mind was blown with that first experience. It was absolutely incredible.
That's all, especially to be on the other side of the world, in New Zealand, in a New Zealand series. Yeah, that is really cool. Well, we had a great race here yesterday. We were speaking off camera, and you were saying that you were actually at the bridge over the Cube 3 and Hankook S's watching.
Yes,
that was probably a pretty good view.
It was absolutely crazy. We know there was a lot of incidents there yesterday and a lot of action, and it's always one of the scariest things, but one of the most entertaining things to see people go side by side into the S's, because someone's coming out on top, and sometimes you don't know who it is.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You can see all the spectators up there on the bridge. Some great camera shots. So let us explain this. This is the new F4, Ligier F4 with the halo, and then the Ligier JS F4, the cars that you're seeing right now in frame. Those are last year's F4 cars, but those cars are so good, they race so well, so we basically added a third rung to the ladder. So now we want people to come from karting into the Ligier JS F4, into F4, into FR. But I know that you've run the F4 cars, and that's really fun, and now you're up into the FR cars. But how would you explain the difference? I know the new F4 cars are a little bit faster, and the times have dropped a little bit.
Yes. Yeah, they're definitely supposed to eliminate some of the lap times with those new F4 cars, and everything's the biggest thing to talk about is the halo. And I've heard some people say that, once they've driven with the halo, just that comfort factor, or they've had an incident, and the halo's been there, it really is just one of the greatest innovations we've had lately. So it's really nice to see that on these new cars.
I agree, and to be honest, I was a total hater. When Formula One started doing it, and then I watched Romain Grosjean in that accident.
Oh, absolutely.
And that made a complete believer out of me. So, they call it in politics a flip-flop. But, I'm from Missouri. You got to show me, the show-me state. And that definitely showed me why the halo comes in handy. But this class right here, straight out of karts, man, they race so close in the Ligier JS F4 that it is really neat to see. They can use the draft. They can go wheel to wheel. And it's just such a great training ground, especially working with the likes of Scott Goodyear and the driver development that Scott Goodyear puts into this.
Absolutely. Yeah, the old F4 cars are so much fun, and like you said, the racing is so close all the time, everywhere. You can always get a tow. You can always push it right against each other. And we saw that definitely a lot yesterday, maybe a little bit too close in pushing it together. But we'll have to see how that goes. It'll be a ton of fun watching both of these classes race together again.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are joined in the booth by the legend, and you'll be able to tell that he is from the Lone Star State of Texas as soon as he starts speaking. But Jonathan Green, we're about to get going with single-seat open wheelers, and I know that this is your favorite right here.
Listen here, son, don't mess with Texas, Yes, I can talk funny if I need to now and again. But no, I am a native now. I've been given the official status. If they throw me out, I'm sure they'll throw me out to Louisiana, which will be a good thing because I'll be knocking on your door.
Oh, absolutely. I thought you already had a funny accent. I don't know without the.
I don't know what they're talking about.
All the Texans.
It doesn't make any sense to me. Landon, it's great to see you again. It's great to be having you in the booth as well. You had a really good race, but not an easy start to it. Have you already discussed that with? Yeah, you've kind of got
we got a little bit going. We
well
talked about the new F4s. Thank you so much. Yeah, there was definitely a lot of very, very close moments, but I think that is the hardest and the closest I've raced in a long time.
Good for you. Yeah.
It was awesome.
Well, we didn't see a lot of it, but I was watching the table go up, and I was like, he's made this place up, made that place up. So good for you. Memories of F4?
Yes. Oh, definitely. With such a large field. And I know we had about 30 when we were here last time, but they're definitely growing here at COTA every time.
Well, this is a good field, and they're doing a good job, just as Scott Goodyear would want. Stacked together, 2 by 2, that is a good rolling grid. Because what you don't want is back markers lagging behind. You want a nice tight field, and you want to wait, and I don't know if the man at the back did that, until they go green. But away we go then.
That one goes.
Rolling start for the F4 group, and it's all tightly nailed together through Big Red. Now you can see from above just how tight it is. 4 wide, folks. And everybody somehow makes it through. It's better than Formula One. They didn't do that. So away they go, and the top two are pulling away as they go through the S's. Here's your second group. Now, 18 cars. Put yourself in the mirror of that, Landon. How do you get out of there?
Oh, you just drive to the car in front of you half the time. It's super scary.
Close your eyes.
You see everybody pinch into the inside. I'll see who dives out. Oh, there we go. There's quite a few. And it seems like the outside line works really well here. Everyone always holds it tight. And there goes Brad Matchman losing a couple spots for that reason.
Are you finding more grip now they've done the resurface?
There definitely is. It's a lot more comfortable everywhere. And no bumps into turn one, no bumps going down the back straight.
Big one into
Everything
two,
is
wasn't there before?
smooth.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, there is a significant bump at turn 3 at the first of the S's. And that one definitely gives you a little moment at the car.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I can tell you about COTA, you only have to drive in here through the, through the periphery road, and you know just what the land is out here. It is wavy at best. So they've done a hell of a job, and when they actually built this, they built 12 feet down and imported clay in from Arkansas that was a different kind of less porous clay, and they try to make it as smooth as they have, and it's done a pretty good job. But we're underway and we are running, and Stati is out front, which is where he wants to be. He's got ahead of Alex Popov in the beginnings of this one. Alex Crosby got a good start. He's up to third. That's all F4. We'll go back to the Junior Series in a moment at the JS F4 Series. But here we go. And look at this, side-by-side action. Now, you would have the advantage on the right-hand side of your screen going into 12, right, Landon? But
you will.
Under braking, he can hold it, which he tries to. No, he can't do it off. But that's a classic sort of battle for 12,
It is. He actually ran off of track limits there, so it'll be really interesting to see if he holds this position or not.
Ah, good point. He did a max.
Oh, and they're pushing out as well. So there's a lot of over-unders here, and this is the entirety. If you want to see an over-under, it's going to happen through this section.
Well, this is both the beauty and the folly, if you will, of this track, is that because there's no gravel traps, it kind of almost entices you to go as wide as you can, or at least take risks that you wouldn't do if you had a wall, let's say, or a gravel trap. And so it's become infamous in that respect. But it is a fantastic circuit, and you're right, you can go side by side in this track. Here, Alex Crosby, a man you raced over the winter.
My teammate, actually,
in Formula Regional.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely
and he
amazing,
decided,
man.
interestingly enough, and you could make a decision on this, to come down a level for the American Series, just to bet himself in.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Getting out there and getting to another country is definitely a big step in itself.
Yeah.
So to see himself getting a new car, something that hasn't been ran before this year, it's very interesting. And it's good for him because developmentally, new series, new driver, new place.
And I always say, and I saw your relation after getting your qualifying, as a racing driver, you've got to have some ups. It can't be all downs on the way up. You've got to get something out of each weekend, or it becomes a soul-destroying game because you just don't get any, only one guy can win.
Yes, exactly. And they talk about it all the time. Ooh, side by side down into turn 7, I believe that is.
They've been doing this since turn 12. Here we go, up through 8 and 9, and they're still side by side. Okay, sort it out, boys. And, of course, they're playing into the hands of those behind them because as they battle, the rest of the field is concertining up towards them. Popov now takes the lead, and Daniel Quimby, so a mistake by Nicolas Stati has dropped him from first to 4th. Now, that is a big turn-up because that's happened in the last couple of minutes. There's Alex Crosby. Crosby is, in 6th position, and now Lincoln Day has got through to 5th. Stati drops to 4th. Connor Roberts, the man who was 3rd in the first race and who's in the booth in the 46, has gone to 2nd place. And now Daniel Quimby, 2nd in the championship, but now leading in race 2. Back to the JS F4 Series. Nice and tight. 18 cars in all. This is the starting class, if you will, getting out of karting. And would you say it's the best way to go from karting to racing?
It is. It's definitely a great transition. There's so much to these cars, and they're so forgiving in aspect of a formula car.
But what's the biggest thing you're learning?
In the F4 car or the F4 cars? In the F4 car, the biggest thing you're learning is the vehicle dynamics of shifting your weight
and
through the brakes.
And working with a team, because in karting, you're kind of on your own. I mean, you might have your dad or your mum or whatever. You've got somebody there, but it's usually like you go racing and karting, 2 people. So now suddenly you're in a team, suddenly you're getting feedback, suddenly you're getting data, suddenly you're analyzing that data. So suddenly your sort of adrenaline weekend turns into I got to think this one.
Oh, it is. And that's what Crosslink Kiwi's done for me, the team that's leading the championship. And with all this data, with all the drivers we have on the team, this whole year was development for me, and you've seen the progress throughout the year. I've been growing nonstop, and to finally be at this point, it's just absolutely amazing.
I remember saying to you at the beginning of the year that by the end of the year, now here we are, you'll have learned so much, and I think it's true of everybody that has had a long year, Crosby included. It doesn't matter if you go down, you're always something to learn, and he's had a win already in the series, and like I said, that psychologically is a huge thing. You may not win the championship, but getting a win under your belt, really important. You're on double duty this weekend.
I am.
What else are you racing?
I'm in the F4 America's car, and I'm also running the Prototype Sprint Series. I'm in a Sebico Prototype.
What do you think?
Oh, it's so much fun. Anything I can get my hands on and race, it's a blast. We just got done with our qualifying before this race, actually, and it was amazing being on radio with the team the whole time. They're telling me the gap to P1, P2, and where I need to get my time and everything. So it was really fun having that aspect of, where to push, when to push, if I can take a cool lap or not, and it was so much fun.
Is it hard to work out the braking when they're going to be different? And you're doing the same corner, but suddenly you're doing a different braking point, and maybe the car doesn't react the same way as the FR car.
Exactly. The FR car's brakes are just absolutely unmatched, but the mechanical grip of the Prototype definitely has it in the low-speed corners. And
nice overtake at 12, classic overtake at COTA.
Oh, but it's way too deep for almost both cars.
And he should come back on that. That's the 17. That's Takumi Numata, the young Japanese, the 20-year-old Japanese driver from Yokohama, who is doing his first ever car weekend. And you remember that, Landan. So pretty impressive to come over from Japan. He sought out the Crosslink Kiwi team. He's only been racing karting. I asked him if he had a family background, a bit like yours, no racing, family background. So he's literally coming into the void, as it were. Jumped on a plane from Yokohama, and he's here. He's trying out effectively this weekend, and if it all works out, he hopefully will have a full season next year.
Yes, absolutely. I was actually with him on his first test day, and we talked about it. He doesn't have the racing background like I do, and it's just so fun. I got to connect with him. He's an absolutely fantastic guy.
Good. Well, and he's the first ever Japanese driver we've had. Yuji Noda came over for a while. She wanted to get in, but she couldn't get the car to regulation, and unfortunately, while she did practice, she didn't get to race. So he is now the first Japanese to race in our series, so great. Crosby up to 5th now. Stati still stuck in 4th, and that's bad news in terms of the championship for him anyway, because it's pretty tight between the top guys. You've got Stati leading the way coming into the weekend. He improved his position with a second yesterday. Quimby's still second. Connor Roberts, who you can see is up there at the moment, is in a good position as well. But and then it gets down to further down, and Lincoln Day is currently in 7th. He's chasing the leaders and currently in 8th on track. How much does the car change in a 30-minute race? Well, obviously the fuel goes down, so it gets a bit lighter. But what about, generally speaking, does it feel different?
It does. A big thing for us. It seems that we might have a double caution here.
Well, we've got that's a section yellow. That's sort of an isolated yellow down the back straight, which means usually there's something coming in at 12, but somebody's usually stuck down here. But I agree with you. If we get a yellow there, it's going to be a full course yellow. Smart man. So,
there we go.
Now, I'll tell you what, dude, tell us the procedure, because this is a sort of dark art of motor racing that people kind of switch off and think, they're not racing anymore, so nothing's happening. No, this is when you actually have to do the work, because the steering wheel gets slower, the brakes don't work, and the tires start getting cold.
And mentally, you get out of your groove. You might finally start to pick up your pace, and then boom, a full course caution comes. And now you don't know where to start, but you also have to think about that this is the worst thing for the leader. This is exactly what he doesn't want, but for everyone else, this is a great opportunity.
It also puts a lot of pressure on the leader of both the two series, because now they'll be packed up together, I'm guessing. But either way, we're under caution. We haven't seen what the inference is or what the problem is, but either way, we've got a full course yellow. Why don't we take a short break? We'll be right back with more. Stay with us.
You've got a business to run, big and heavy products to ship, and customers who need them now. When you've got the right driver and the right equipment, you can bet on a spectacular result. Bennett understands complex logistics and puts the best team, the most time, and the latest technology into every customer relationship. So you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the race. Let us handle the rest.
Together, We can move anything.
It'd be you that's the trouble.
Rev up and get ready for race day with Mission Foods. The world's best racers and tastiest products come together to make every race delicious. Fully loaded tacos, fast wraps, piled high nachos. Whatever you crave, Mission will help you be race ready with easy-to-make recipes that will take your race day to the finish line. Keep your racing delicious and enjoy all the mouth-watering action. Brought to you by Mission Foods. Too fast, too tasty.
Welcome back to the Circuit of the Americas. We're under caution in our F4 and JS F4 race. I'm here with Landan Matriano Lim, and we are under caution. And we were just talking about the fact that it's actually quite stressful being under caution because there's a lot of work to do. But you were just spotting, Landan, how some of the guys like KK, who had to start from the pit lane, is making up some spots already in JS F4.
Yes, it seems that he's made his way all the way up to 7th. So that's very interesting and definitely what he wants for the championship. He still has some moves to make to Teddy Musella, but like we were saying, that is really bad for the leader, who is Teddy Musella, because that does give KK a chance to get so much closer.
Yep, Teddy Musella currently 9th overall, but with this caution, that'll push him closer to the F4 boys, and he might be able to get amongst them. He's now holding off Sascha van 't Pad Bosch. What a great name, a Dutch driver that's just come into the championship. Don't know much about him, to be honest, but with a name like Bosch, it's awesome.
We haven't seen him before. It's very exciting to see new drivers at the last round, but it also throws a mix into it because you don't know what's going to happen with the championship.
Yeah, well, I was right about one thing. They have merged into one group because obviously you can't really, start again and do another rolling start. So now it'll be one clear race, but obviously there's a slight advantage. I think the Ligiers will be... we found it.
So
well done.
There's a car off
at 6,
turn
5,
turn 4.
Turn 4, yeah.
Yes, 3-4 into the S's. Might have gotten a tap, just a bit loose. I'm not sure if he
it's
would have
so
caught
funny.
the
We had the 6-hour race at WEC here about a month ago, and that turn 4, and it was just in that first race. People were just catching like a left rear on the rumble strip, and throwing the back end of the car out and into that gravel trap. And it happened about 4 or 5 times, and I was kind of looking out for it, and it happened in the Porsche race at the Formula One weekend. So, it's obviously a little bit of a bugbear. Here's Parrish in the pits, and what's happened here? That's not good. They're obviously wanting to change the suspension or do something. What would they be changing?
That's a great question. Oh, you know what? They might be taking the nose off if there was nose damage.
Good point. Yeah.
They do have to take off the shock cover to get access to all of that. Hopefully it's nothing down with his pedals. That would be quite a fix.
Yeah, and also not something you want to go back out with and not be sure of. So some nice close-up shots. This is the older car. Now, this is the car you would have driven, right?
Correct. This was the car I was driving in last year.
And how does it compare to, let's say, the FR that you're in now? Because it is a step up, isn't it?
It is. It definitely is. With the old generation of F4 cars, it's definitely a bit looser. You get to slide the car a lot more. And like I said, it's a very forgiving Formula car, so it's a good transition from karting. But going up into the FR car with so much power, you have to be a lot more careful getting onto it as you're coming out of the corners. You've got to make sure the turbo's spooled as well because you don't want to be bogged down. And having a lot more confidence with the aero because the old generation of F4 doesn't really have much. especially compared to everything else there is nowadays. So going to the
there you
F4
go. Lunch
car-
break for the boys doing the building.
There we go. We get a wave as
There
well.
you go. There, why shouldn't they enjoy a bit of motor racing? They're in the right place at the right time. Good for them. I got a question for you while we're under caution. What were the hardest things physically? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, guys, girls, looking on and thinking, oh, I'd love to do this. What's the hardest thing physically? No, I know the answer because we've talked about it in one way. Upper body strength, which you have because you're an ex-gymnast.
Correct.
And you found that a lot easier than a lot of the other drivers. Tell us why you need that upper body.
Absolutely. So if you think about pulling a cable, you put your arm out to your side and pulling a cable directly across your chest. That's about how it'll feel while you're steering the car. Correct.
Yeah, so
shoulders. All the front of your shoulders and that muscle that connects the front of your shoulders to your chest. That's what you're going to be working a lot. And it's very interesting because my first race weekend, let's see what's going on with it.
Doesn't look good, does it? They've taken the nose cone off, as you said they would.
And it looks like they might have a slight leak. Hopefully that is not a brake line.
Well, either way, he's not getting out quick.
Scary.
Finish your thought. That was good.
Yes, absolutely. So it is definitely the muscle going from the front of your shoulder to your chest as you're pulling that steering wheel back and forth. And then as well as that, your neck.
Yes.
Those were the first things that I found to get sore whenever I got in the car. And I found that very surprising as well because of my background and everything. Having that calisthenic strength was doing wonders for me. Adjusted very well, but definitely a surprise with how much it really took.
And it's interesting because a lot of people think, oh, I'll go in the gym and I'll run miles or I'll build up strength and I'll build up muscle. And it's like, yeah, slow down. You want to be as lean as you can. You don't want to be building. You want to build muscle, but you don't want to build too much. It's not a sport where you need extra weight.
Correct.
And to use a phrase that is common to you at the moment after your weekend, but we won't go there. But no, what I'm getting at is it's a very different way of training for, let's say, triathlon or soccer or whatever it might be. And gymnastics, it won't be the same either, but it's a similar thing. You don't want to be too, you don't want to build up too much because you want to be as flexible and as lean as you can.
Exactly. That was one of the biggest things being a gymnast was to be as strong as possible with the least amount.
Yeah.
So that's all what calisthenics is about as well. It's everything's body strength. You're not in the gym moving weights much. You'll see a lot of acrobatic things, but doing that as well, it's helped with muscular endurance rather than just going to the gym and having that repetitive movement. You're not moving everything as it should naturally. So I take after a lot of calisthenics, a lot of gymnastics-based workouts because, well, that's what I've known my whole life, and that's what's been working so well.
And don't think for 1 minute these guys aren't athletes, because the other side of it that we haven't mentioned is mental strength. Because when I've ever done any race schools or motorcycle schools, I was always surprised that I was just getting into the rhythm, and I was just, I did 3 laps, 4 laps, and they were like, oh, no, we're in. I was like, well, I was just getting into it,
Exactly.
And they were like, yeah, but you've had enough. You've been out there 15 minutes, and if you stay out there, you're going to start making mistakes. And I thought, you know what? They're absolutely right, because when you're not a racing driver on every weekend, that mental capacity to concentrate and to maintain both physical and mental concentration is hard.
Absolutely. I'd say it's even more mental than it is physical.
Yeah.
Because there's just, everyone talks about how a driver has to exclude food. Mm-hmm. You have to throw yourself into a corner believing that car will stick, and you have to know the limit of every single move that you're making. So, and it's also, you have 30-minute races like this, and time it's hot outside. Considering the fact that these cars are open cockpit, you'll actually be surprised to hear that it's actually very hot inside because all of the aerodynamics are just blowing the air right over you. You're not getting any of it sitting in the car.
Yeah, and then, of course, the final factor is that adrenaline factor because your heart is racing. You are in a fight or flight mode, as they call it, which is an old human sort of way of describing either, running away or being ready to fight because you're in that mode where your body is going, what are you doing to me here? And it's expecting everything. So everything gets exaggerated, your heartbeat, your muscles, the oxygen that you're using, and so on and so forth. So and you've got to control that.
Absolutely. You have to have that point. There's always a car limit and there's always a driver limit.
Right.
It can vary on the day. A lot of people say, you're going to have 10 bad days to 1 good. So you have to really work your best to make sure you can even it all out and get a good average and, know your limits where, if I push way too hard today, I might be dead for the weekend.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure to space it all out and work yourself out for the weekend.
Yep. Coming under the famous tower, under the famous McConaughey complex. You know why they call it that?
I don't,
Well,
actually.
it's right, all right, and all right.
That makes a lot of sense.
Makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah,
Oh,
I
we have
coined
a
that
big
one. It used to be
audience at
Hayden
COTA
Hill,
Silver.
when the motorcycles are here.
Yes.
But there's always a good crowd for MotoGP up there. But what a great venue. I mean, I don't know if you've been to the top of the tower, but it is beautiful up there. You really get an amazing view.
I have. I actually watched a WRL endurance race from there, and oh my gosh, the view, when they say you can see the whole track, the only thing you can't see is the front straight, which is blocked by that building right there in the camera view. But otherwise, it is one of the coolest viewing spots in like all of motorsport.
Well, it looks as though we are going racing.
We have a very early jump from Alex Popov.
Alex Popov. Now, we didn't actually see that because we were still on the overhead. But anyway, Popov's got away, and he's popped into the lead beautifully. Talking of popping in, here we go. Here comes the 15 up the inside. That's Nicolas Stati, the championship leader. And he will be trying to make hay as quickly as he can at this restart because he's not where he needs to be. And there's only 8 minutes and 25 seconds left, and that shows you how quickly a half hour can go when you have a safety period.
Absolutely, and these are long laps here at COTA, so they're not going to get many more. Hopefully they'll get a full 4 laps because everyone wants to do as much racing as they can.
Landon, what do you have to be cautious of on a restart first lap like this? Because we just mentioned what you go through in terms of trying to keep the pressures and all the rest of it, and the mechanical grip, but do you have to be careful when you return to racing, that everything's up to temperature, or are you a bit more cautious?
Absolutely, you have to be more cautious, and it's not only just going into turn 1, which a lot of people are worried about for the most part, but it's actually before you even take the restart, because a lot of people will, get as close as they can to the car in front, and the guy might brake a little bit, and that causes an accordion effect. And that is just about the worst thing that you could have in a restart, because the second that accordion effect takes over, you're going to tap the brakes and...
Well, Alex Crosby in a great battle here. This for 4th place in F4. Into 12, the usual overtaking spot. And Crosby looks as though he's lost that place. He came alongside out of 11. And Crosby and Seth Gilmore, I think it is, that are battling away in that one. Through comes the number 10 that's Connor Grant in the JS F4 car. He's currently in 15th.
We also just saw that move by Kekai.
Yeah, Kekai in the 29, yeah.
Good move down into turn 12, as we've seen, diving up the inside and making a move.
Are there lots of different lines into 15? It always looks like some guys could take like a high, wide line and then cut back, and other guys like to hug the inside.
Absolutely. There's so much variation through this track and in that corner, and it's so tough to figure out which one works for you. But honestly, it just depends on the driver, what you like better, because I've seen it done every way you could.
Now, how quick are they on track limits here? Because there's quite a few guys going over them here. How lenient are they with you?
It is very close. They actually changed it this weekend to where it is the red and white that is the track limit, rather than the white line, because the stewards found it very hard.
So as long as you don't go outside that white line, the furthest white line.
Correct.
Okay.
As long as you're not on the solid red pavement, you are pretty good.
So you've got to keep one wheel, or at least on within that. In that realm, as it were. Through comes the 23. This is a good battle. Now we're starting to get some real good battles. That's Hirbar Das coming through here in 17th place.
Hirbar Das actually going really wide at turn 1 and now under pressure from the car behind, as we see our first Japanese driver take away.
Yeah, he's 16th now, Takumi.
He is.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Teddy Masella has now got Leonardo Escorpiani, the young Sao Paulo driver, right behind him in his first weekend out with us in 10th position. Sasha Van Pad Bosch is in 11th, and then Drew Such is in 12th. Marta Caceres of Uruguay, she's 13th at the moment, and then comes Kekai.
And there he is, a beautiful shot. As we see Maite run out a little past track limit, so that'll be interesting to see how that works out.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with her. She's done the F1 Academy. She had some runs in that. She came here last year. Just her and her father, a very small team. And hats off to her. She's worked very hard. She met Alonso when she was a little girl. Her father was a rally driver. Her brother got a test in Formula One.
Really?
So she's really been part of it. And they wouldn't let her race. And they said, oh, no, you're not racing. And she said, no, I want to race. And I've met Alonso, and he told me to work hard, and I'm going to work hard, and I'm going to go and racing. And that was it. The boys had to back off.
And she's been doing it all year.
I love it. So, side by side once again.
Seems like that is Dimitri Nolan in the 34 of Parker Wallen.
Yeah, against, Parker Wallen. There you go. Meanwhile, at the front, Alex Popov has extended his lead. He's got it to about a second now after that restart. We'll wait to see if there are any problems with the restart, just because he didn't see it. But here's a good battle.
Right
Crosby now all over Stati, the championship leader. Crosby, a former Formula 4 champion from New Zealand. I remember watching him in Formula 4. He absolutely wiped the floor with the rest of the field in that. We knew he was on for Toyota Racing Series, the CT Frot Championship, which he went into this year with you. And he had some good success there. Didn't change the world, didn't win the championship or anything, but had some good runs and certainly improved his skills. And now he's brought them to the States, as so many others have. Callum Hedge, a former champion of that, is here. Liam Skeets is here. Sebastian Manson was testing in Indy Next last week. So we've got a host of Kiwis. Ryan Yardley just won here a couple of weeks ago in the Porsche Carrera Cup North America, and he looks after bowling, of course. So, yeah, I don't know what they feed these Kiwis, but it's good stuff.
It seems like Alex Crosby really wants to make a move on Stati.
Well, I think it's that time of the year. It's like, well, I beat the champion in the last race. That's always your opening line to your next sponsor or whatever. Or you're only as good as your last race, they say, and it's a fair point. Nobody remembers what you did at Mid-Ohio at this point.
Exactly.
But I was really good back in mid-season. Here comes Crosby around the outside. If he pulls this off, that'll be impressive. No.
Seems like it was just ran out of room.
The problem is, you run out of room, and,
it's very
Lando Norris can tell you all about that. But it is a tricky corner. It really is. If you take that outside option, I mean, you have the right to defend the inside, as Max Verstappen was doing in Formula 1, but that's the tricky part. If you get that inside line, it's really hard to go around the outside and stay within track limits.
It is. And following right behind another driver, it seems like actually Alex Crosby. Oh my gosh, yes. Alex Crosby is making a good move, hanging it around the outside. I'm surprised he didn't get a lot of aero wash coming around the carousel.
How much, talk about the aero wash, because a lot of people may not understand that. When you have slicks of wings, as the white flag comes out, when you get close, like Crosby is now, the car doesn't act the same way. Can you explain why?
Absolutely. So you'll see right here, Alex Crosby is going to have a good draft, is what we call it. The air is reduced on the front wing. And, it actually looks like Stati has a damaged front wing as well.
Oh, he does. Yeah, that's why Crosby's all over him. He's got some advantage. But he's defending well, isn't he?
He is. He's really giving it a good battle, holding it through as hard as he can.
When he's this close, does it make it hard to run?
It does, but at this level of formula, it's mostly when you have a couple of cars in front of you. So when you're in a train of, you have 2 cars in front of you, you'll find that the aero wash is quite drastic.
So a wounded car for the championship leader, under pressure from the Kiwi from Invercargill in New Zealand at the bottom of the South Island. And famous circuit down there called Terratonga is where he cut his teeth. But it's Popov out front. Daniel Quimby, second in the championship, is ahead of the championship leader, and that makes it very interesting for tomorrow, because if Stati stays where he is and Quimby gets more points than him, it'll close the gap again. So really interesting. And Crosby, I think, might want to change everything if he can get past the 12. This is the key. So line it up. If you were Crosby now, how would you do this move?
It depends. It seems like he's just too far back for the move.
Yeah.
But Stati doesn't know that.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting to see what Stati does, and it seems like he'll hold his place. But Crosby does have a really good chance of pushing him just past the limit.
And are there any other overtakes? Like, can you do it at 15?
15 is an absolutely amazing opportunity, especially diving up the inside, and then you'll have a really good line for the carousel. And we have 3 wide into turn 12.
3 wide, and this is the battle for second place in JS4. Now, why go such? And through, out of that group, it's the Dutchman, Bosch, who holds the lead in this group of 4 now. Round the outside goes the 29. And they're all battling. That's Kekai Hawanio, who's joined this battle and trying to get as many points as possible, because, of course, he is also trying to win in the juniors. There's the checkered flag, though, and Alex Popov makes it 2 for 2. That is great news. What a weekend it's turning out for the young man who, on the top of his helmet, says that he has huge respect for his dad, who is a multiple champion and winner here in the States over the years in sports car racing.
And here we see Teddy Musella celebrating another win.
And that's ninth overall and a win, as you say. Yeah, and that should give him, he's leading the championship.
So
that's
it'll all
great.
come down to the final race.
Perfect, just as we liked it. Good result also for the Uruguayan Mata Caceres, 14th overall. Kekai Juanio did get ahead of her. He ends up in 13th position, but you're right. Teddy Musella wins in the juniors, and Alex Popov wins in F4. Good race, lots to talk about, but a race that was kind of dominated by that safety car. That changed the complexion, wasn't it? Because before we had the safety car, I think Popov was way ahead, wasn't
He definitely was, and I think Alex Crosby was also quite a bit behind. Yeah. But safety car closing that gap completely, giving KK another chance, and all the drivers just time to bunch up, try and collect themselves, or just hold themselves together and keep their groove going.
Before I leave you, before you leave us, tell us your number, tell us your social. Let's get some fans behind you.
Car number for F4 Americas is 73. And the car number for the Prototype Sprint Series is 739.
Tell us how you came up with that number. Is that a special number for you?
It is. My dad put that number on his car because he took it out on track one day just to throw it around, and that's how I actually got it all started. So they told him he had to keep a number on his car. So 739 is what he chose, and it's the birth month of me and my two sisters.
Look at that! That's good. Is he bent out of shape that you're a really good racing driver now?
He is. He was very surprised when everyone started telling him, "Hey, your son needs to go take a whack at it." And he was, I don't know what he was thinking, but he's here supporting me all day, all night.
I love it.
It's amazing.
It's a great family story, and definitely get behind Landan Matriano Lim. He's got a great origin story, if you will, about his background, and he'll tell you all about his name and all the rest of it. It's great stuff. But my thanks to coming in here, and watch out for the 7.3 and the 7.39. Boy, busy weekend, man.
It is, but we love it. More track time, more fun. If you can be in a race car, why not?
Exactly. Yeah, it beats sitting behind a desk, doesn't it?
Absolutely. There's nothing like it, and anyone will tell you that.
Yeah, no kidding. So then, we wind down our coverage of the F4 race. They'll be back in action tomorrow morning for their third and final race. We will be covering that, and we'll also be covering Landan's second race of the weekend. They only get 2, whereas the F4 get 3. But it'll be the final race of the year. How would you sum up your progress or year?
It's been constant.
Good.
Constant is definitely the best word we can use for that. Through the New Zealand Series, through the FR America Series, we've seen steps up everywhere. And without the technical infringement for qualifying, it would have been a P3, which is career best. I've never seen a number that low. So I felt absolutely fantastic about that. And, I said I always wanted to take my car to impound, but I think that was the downfall.
See, that's the line you take to the sponsors. I was third quickest to COTA in the final race of the year.
Absolutely. That's exactly what you want to
There's no denying that.
And we have the toughest competition at this race than we've had all year.
Well, as you can see, delight for Mr. Musella. As Teddy gets out the car, the whole team swamp him. He's gone. He's gonna be the showman for sure. Yeah, they are delighted with that. Well, they should be.
He's got to feel so good because I believe that's now the championship.
Yeah, I think that is the championship.
So coming down to this last race, he's got such a good spot to start from. It'll be really interesting to see what he's able to do.
Well, in a moment we'll head down to John Phippen, who will talk to our winners, and we're trying to talk to both the junior and the F4 winner before we wrap it all up. But thanks, Landan. Thanks for coming in. This has been great.
Well, thank you for having me. It's
and
fun
best
every
of luck
time.
tomorrow.
Thank you.
I'm expecting big things. Where are you starting tomorrow?
You know what? That's a great question. I should figure that out.
Okay, well, I'll let you figure that out, and I'll head down to John Phippen.
Absolutely.
Jonathan, we've got what may well be our 2024 champion of the class. It's still unofficial. Teddy, you did what you needed to do, my friend.
Yeah, I realized we had a quite unlucky start. We fall back to 4th, but I knew it was just worrying about the championship. Take your positions when you can. Don't make any risk moves. Ended up being P1 at the end of it, so it was just a great result for everyone.
Yeah, your teammate Sasha got a great start, but like I said, you kept your composure and got yourself back to the front.
Yeah, it's just an unbelievable feeling finally. Unofficial champion, but it's an unbelievable feeling so far.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Teddy Musella, your champion. Let's make a move right over to our winner in the Ligier JS F4 Championship. Alex Popov, 2 starts, 2 wins. That's a pretty good way to start your career, my friend.
Yeah, it feels really good. I mean, it's just so incredible. I mean, we've worked so hard to get here, and to finally be here and do it with such a great team behind me and just all the supporters, it's just awesome.
So obviously, with this kind of success, hopefully you're going to be with us all season next year.
Hopefully. I mean, it just depends. You know, racing is a cutthroat sport, and it comes down to other factors as well, not just driving. But hopefully, I mean, with this, I think we can try and make something happen.
Fantastic job. Well done.
Thank you.
Alex Popov. Jonathan, back to you.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Well done to our top men. And yeah, I think there'll be some good celebration, but they can't over-celebrate. They've got an early race tomorrow. I know I've got to be here at Cracker Sparrow, so if that's the case, these guys are going to be. But it's getting rather dusky out there. It's very humid, actually. This day has changed dramatically as the weekend's gone on. So that concludes our coverage, but let's take a look at the highlights of what just happened in F4 and JS4. We started off with a good clean start for F4, a smaller field, but then 18 cars involved in the JS4. Look at this, side-by-side racing throughout. And there was some good overtakes and some good racing, and I'm sure that Scott Goodyear, the race director, who tries to train these guys to act properly and fight well, but fight fairly, will be pleased with the results of this race, because everybody seemed to know what they were doing, giving each other enough room, but also racing, and that's the name of the game, because that's what they call motor racing. And I'll tell you what, really good talent out there. And if you're new to motor racing, remember some of these names, because you may well see them in an IndyCar at the 500 or on the grid of Formula One in years to come. Who knows, you might come back here to the Circuit of the Americas and see 400,000 people cheering them on and remembering when you were here, when they were just starting out. Let's head down once again to John Phippen, who's ready to do the podium.
Get our podium celebration underway. Let's start with the F4 U.S. Championship with this beautiful second-generation car. Bring up our third-place finisher, Nicolas Stati. Nicolas, here he comes. Your 8th podium on the season to go along with 3 wins. It was a bit of a battle. You and Alex had a great battle all race long.
Yeah, me and Alex had a good battle. Fought hard.
Looking pretty good for you for the championship. It isn't clinched yet, but...
No, still, it's not over till it's over, but yeah, looking good so far.
Anybody to thank?
AGI Sport, Crosslink Kiwi, and Adam from AGI, Tina from Crosslink, and Isaac and Taylor for working on the car, and my dad, of course.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jump up on the podium. Chris Roostrom, this gentleman designed this beautiful race car, and he is presenting the podium here. Thank you, Chris. Okay, let's bring up our second place finisher, Daniel Quimby from the Atlantic Racing Team. Daniel, not quite enough, but boy, what a great race it was.
Nah, yeah, it was a good race. We've been struggling with the car all weekend. Good to get this podium for the boys in the team. Yeah, it's been a tough weekend on us changing the car, but yeah, we've come away with a pretty good result.
Anybody else to thank?
I'd like to thank Motorhome Republic, Fiji Airways, Atlantic. You boys have done a really good job. Cruise America, and all the other sponsors that support me.
It's a great season so far, and it's not over yet. Daniel Quimby with 5 wins and 4 podiums. Chris Roosman, the designer of the race car, once again making the podium presentation. Let's bring up our winner. His first time in the car. Back-to-back victories for Alex Popov, ladies and gentlemen. Alex, my man, we talked a little bit on the TV interview. What a weekend it has been.
Yeah, it's just been incredible. I mean, so happy to be here once again, and thank you to all the guys over there, just everyone that's helped me get into this position, all the guys even at Inter, Dana, and just MLT for making this happen. It's just incredible the amount of work we've put in over the last couple of weeks, coming from CMP where we did our first testing. So yeah, to be here now is just surreal.
Fantastic job. Anybody else you'd like to thank?
Of course, my dad. Without him, I wouldn't be here. He's the one that got me into racing, showed me what I love to do, and yeah.
Well done. Get on the top step of the podium as Chris Rathman once again makes the trophy presentation to our winner, Alex Popov, a 100% victory percentage so far in his young career. Our drivers with the Hankook hats as they accept their trophies. Now we'll go to the second round of hats as we put the Ligier hats on the drivers. Ligier Automotive North America building this beautiful race car, the designer of the race car. Presenting the trophies to our podium finishers. Well done to Chris and the whole crew at Ligier Automotive North America down in North Carolina. One more round of hats, this time for Radford Racing School, our partner in the Radford Karts to Cars Scholarship. An opportunity to bring some youngsters into the racing series right out of go-karting. And we look forward to that coming up in December for the next round for 2025. All right, now it's time for the real celebration. Let's have one more round of applause for Nicolas Stati, Daniel Quimby, and Alex Popov. Well done, everyone. Don't go away. We've got one more podium to do. Lauren, are we good to go? Okay, sorry. Forgive me. Just waiting for a cue from my director. Let's bring up our third place finisher, second time on the box, also in his first weekend of racing, Leonardo Scorpioni. Leonardo. Congratulations, Leonardo, once again on the box in only your second race. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. It was a really tough race. We ultimately didn't have the pace, but a good start. Just put me up there, and I was able to fight my way through the race and just hold on.
One more time, one more chance tomorrow. You think you can move up a couple steps?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to make a couple of changes in the car, and we're going to try, but it's going to be difficult.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
On the box for the second day in a row, Leonardo Scorpioni from Champagne Racing. Welcome to Champagne to the field. Let's bring up our second place finisher, also on debut this weekend, Sasha Van Pod Bosch. Sasha, my friend, a much different day today than it was yesterday. You had a couple spins yesterday. You set the fastest lap of the race, started on the pole. You got to be pleased with this podium finish.
Yeah, I'm very happy. It's my second race here. It's my debut, and already get a podium. I'm really happy.
Anybody you'd like to thank?
My team, Cor, my coach, my mom, and everyone who supported me.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Sasha Van Pod Bosch, ladies and gentlemen, second place finisher. All right, now it is unofficial until we have the review by the stewards of the meeting, post-race technical inspection and all that. But assuming all of that goes well, let me introduce the 2024 champion of the Ligier JS F4 Championship, Teddy Musella. Again, we'll wait for the people in the executive suite to make their final decisions. But congratulations, my man.
Thank you. It's what a ride it's been from Road America to come back to winning championships. Is just an amazing feeling. Honestly, I'm lost for words for the amount of emotion I'm feeling. It's just a great result. So I want to thank my dad, Borda, my mechanic for helping me so much, Artie for the coaching, Pablo for the team and how he's helped us with the team, and everyone else that helped me throughout this journey.
Teddy, congratulations on a great season.
Thank you.
Teddy Musella, ladies and gentlemen, unofficially your new champion. Hankook hats again on all three of our drivers. Trophies aloft. By the way, the second and third place finishers are 14 years of age. What a future they've got in front of them. Trophies up one more time with the Ligier hats on. Once again, thanks to Mo Murray and the entire staff at Ligier Automotive North America for all the great work they do in all three of these championships. Now to Mountoon, of course, who provides the power plants for the JS F4 Series. Thanks to Mountoon for their continued support. And once again, we acknowledge the Radford Racing School and their Karts to Cars scholarship. It's the feeding ground for bringing youngsters into this field. Here's a couple examples of what it can mean for these drivers to make their debut and show up on the podium. All right, let's get a big round of applause. Leonardo Scorpioni, Sasha Van Pod Bosch, and Teddy Musella, your new champion-elect. That'll wrap it up from a very damp podium here after the sparkling water. We're gonna send it back to Jonathan in the booth. Hey, Jonathan.
Great stuff, John. Perfect. Yeah, and always good. And like you said, so young, these guys, but what a maturing moment that is for the new champion. And yes, we have to wait for the official result, because you never know in motor racing. But we can tell you what the provisional results are. And here is your classification. Alex Popov with his second win for MLT Motorsports of the weekend. His dad will be very proud. And like I said, his dad, a famous racing driver here in the States, has been for many years. Daniel Quimby helped himself by beating Stati as the Atlantic Racing team get a second place, and Nicolas Stati, the championship leader for Crosslink, gets third. Crosby is fourth, Connor Roberts took fifth, Barrett Wolf sixth, Seth Gilmore seventh, then Day Musella ninth, but more importantly for Scuderia Buell, he takes the championship. And how about that for a debut for Bosch, the young Dutch driver taking 10th overall and a podium in the JS4 category. And don't forget, the 2024 Speed Tour continues tomorrow, November 2nd, and we started all off, in fact, where we're leaving it today, with the final race of the F4 U.S. Ligier JS F4 Feature Race 3. That'll be followed by the final race of the Formula Regional Americas Championship for the runner-up in that one. Still very much on the line. So two great races, one at 8:50 in the morning and one at 1:15. And then we go through the rest of the afternoon with SVRA to start with, where we go through several groups of racing, as you can see, short races, but all the way through to the big afternoon, where we finish off with qualifying for Cube 3 Architecture TA2, the Trans Am Series, followed by the Trans Am TA Series, XGT, SGT, and GT qualifying, and that'll be at 5:25 p.m. to decide the grids for Sunday's two big races. And as you can see, Sunday will start off at 9. We'll go back to SVRA with their group final races, the Gold Helmet races, the very big and important race for the Gold Helmet. And then we get into our features at 10:20. We've got the Cube 3 Architecture TA2 Series feature race, and that'll be followed by the Trans Am race at 12:20. And then we go back to SVRA feature races for the rest of the day. A packed weekend of superb racing from the Speed Tour. It's been one heck of a season, and it's great that we can finish it off here at this fantastic circuit. That's it for our live coverage today, but we're going to leave you with some more stories from the paddock. All of our paddock has